All right.
You've swung around again. Look at you. You feel so just out of place, don't you? You don't like being on the end.
Story of my life, Joe.
We can swap sometime if you want to be in the middle.
Oh, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Just Mitch front of frame, just middle.
We should all sleep together in the same bed, I reckon, us blokes.
Yeah.
Should we? In a bloody big bed. Steel frame.
I'm not being in the middle.
Yeah, I want to be on the outside.
I'll go in the middle. I want to go in the middle.
I don't want you in the middle either. I want you on the first. But then Nick snoring would be even closer to me. It's hard. It's a tough one. Big fucking
Yeah,
bed.
no, you need Mitch to block the sound in the middle.
This isn't going on the episode, is it?
This is the episode.
This is it. This is how it started.
Yeah.
You haven't said welcome to Dictating Terms.
No, it just opens with, it's just going to be opening with you going, I think we all sleep in the same bed together. That's how it starts.
Start it now, Joe.
Hello, welcome to Dictating Terms. My name is Nick. With me, as always, is world-famous psychologist Joseph Duffy. How are you, Joe?
Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. And to my right, your left, is an author, a philosopher, philanthropist, Mitchell Power. How are you, Mitch?
Nick, Joe, I'm pleased you got through the COVID scare you had.
Yeah, the COVID scare.
Yeah.
That was quite a scare. That was I came down with a slight fever and a bit of a headache and a bit stuffy because I have to work. So I was like, I need to get a COVID test. I couldn't go to work on the Wednesday, and then I had to go to the John Hunter Hospital to get myself tested before I could be allowed back into the community.
So because you had some symptoms, you couldn't front up to work?
Yeah, with our work, we're not allowed to go to work if you've got potential symptoms because you could then have coronavirus. So
Sure.
I was pretty sure I didn't, but I had to go to the John Hunter Hospital to get it done. And it wasn't a very pleasant experience, as a lot of people probably have heard and others might have experienced themselves.
Yeah, so I've heard that they pretty much take a swab from the frontal lobe of your brain. Is that correct?
Yeah, they get this big swab on a stick. It's quite long. It's not 1.5, but I guess they're wearing protective equipment. And they start with the throat, so they go right through the throat to the back of the throat and press down in there.
At the back of your neck.
And really scrape around down there like you're trying to give it a good clean.
Yeah.
And then they go in through both nostrils, and it's the same process. It's just right in there, real deep, and they're just not really, sensitive area, and they're just kind of getting in there. And
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's the deep mucus or whatever it is.
Yeah, where it likes to hide.
Sinuses. Yeah, that's where it sits. That's where it lurks.
Crevices of the
They've
nasal
probably
passage.
Been places that no one else has ever been.
Yeah, well, I
on
was
your body.
Yeah, definitely. Because when they stuck it in there, I was like, "Is that what it feels like back there?" I never knew. But I've never breathed better afterwards, so it really cleared things out. But
Oh, really?
yeah, it was a funny experience because I went to the hospital and it was sort of lined up out the front, and they had the little social distancing X's on the ground, which I forgot about at one point. And I was leaning against the wall, and this woman kept sort of shuffling forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's this bitch's problem. We're all got coronavirus. And I realised that's because I was about a foot off my ex, and she was trying to get. But then the
she was
person in
trying to
front
keep
of
her
her,
distance.
yeah, I felt bad about it. But,
Yeah, it's like dominoes.
but not bad enough to. I just moved back to my ex, but yeah. And then I had the mask on. You have to wear the mask. And then someone farted in the line.
Right.
And of the line that I could see in that sort of vicinity, it was all women, me, and there was an older woman. So I'm pretty sure it was her.
Okay.
But then I think maybe that might have been the idea of the woman, but the younger woman that might have farted, because she might have thought, well, no one's going to think it was me. It may have been the man.
Yeah.
Or it may have been the old lady. But the mask didn't do anything for that. I could just smell this, I'm pressing it in deeper on my nose, trying to make sure it's
So it's possible the masks don't really work, maybe.
I don't think they're meant to stop smells or anything. But yeah, I don't know how well it was working. But then we went in there and had to wait in the second waiting room. And then before I went in, a woman was called, and she had 2 children. They were 2 young girls, they were about 6 or 7 years old. And they got called in, and they were all happy and sort of jumping around and bouncing and stuff. And then when they came out, they were the same. They were both very happy and upbeat, they had a great time. So I was like, this isn't going to be as bad as everyone's made out to be. And then when I went in there, it was really bad. And the nurse kept saying to me, "Good job and well done." She was very sort of
Yeah.
I think I was showing my hand.
Is there a lollipop at the end of it or anything?
No, there wasn't a lollipop, but I wouldn't have accepted it anyway because I don't think I would have trusted her to give it to me. I think she would have shoved it right in there "Here's your lollipop, you motherfucker." I thought I'd offended her or something. It was horrible. But I got the all clear, so...
Yeah, it would take a certain temperament of person to be doing those tests, I think.
Yeah. It's
penetrates so deeply with such gusto.
Yeah, I think when you do something that often, you just kind of do things without thinking. But I think if it was me, first time ever someone said, "Can you swab my nose?" I'd be so delicate. But I guess you just got to get in there.
Jam it up there, get it over and done with.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really spray. There's no lube or anything they can kind of put into the
They're working
nose
under a time frame.
Yeah.
They
are.
No Vaso, just in dry.
Just straight in. And I think it must have a coating or something on it. Like it sort of stung a bit. But I was like, is it something on the swab or do I just have sensitive airways?
Joe, was there a part of you that actually wanted to have the dirty COVID?
No, but there was the part of me that was disappointed that I got my results within 24 hours and had to go to work the next day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was working from home on the Thursday, so I was happy to keep that going for a bit longer.
Because you look, when you were 65 and you think back of the COVID days and that, you look back at your son or one of your mates said, I had that and I survived it, you know?
Unless I didn't, I died.
That wouldn't be a story to tell, would it?
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell the story because he'd be dead, but for others to tell it wouldn't be, well, he wanted it. I mean, it destroyed the family, but he wanted it, so
yeah.
I guess we should be happy about that.
Yeah, but ideally you'd have the respect of your grandchild, you think?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. Granddad, did you get COVID? No. I just stayed at home and dodged the whole thing until it blew over.
Yeah.
You're
a pussy, Granddad.
like a draft dodger in the war or something. Did you go to Vietnam? No, I faked a bone spur or whatever Donald Trump did. No, I wasn't going to get involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah, so, no, thankfully, it's gone away now. We got rid of it in Australia, haven't we? It's gone.
Yeah, I was driving down Beaumont Street today and it was definitely gone by the look of it. It took me 25 minutes to drive from Charlestown to Hamilton to pick up Mitch from the train station. Sent him I didn't send him a message at Merewether when I was close to nearby. When I was 5 minutes away.
Operating a motor vehicle.
Yeah, no, not at all. I wouldn't do that. No. You can do it via audio now. You can do it by voice.
Yeah,
you can send it through that way.
Siri message Mitch Power.
So I'm 5 minutes away. And I got there 17 minutes later. It was just that busy.
Yeah, I did wonder because I was like, I was watching the clock. Maybe they've gone to get KFC or something.
I felt like it was when your mum said she picked you up for school at 3 o'clock when the bell rang. Then you're still sitting there at 3:15 going, she doesn't love me anymore. So that's how I felt.
And Geordie got picked up. She picked up Geordie. She left. You can walk it off, the fat fuck.
No, your mum would never let you there, surely.
No, well, she was a teacher.
She worked there.
I knew where she was.
She was marking tests.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Mitchell is at an F again, you know.
Oh, F.
F, yeah.
She failed you.
Always on time for home time. Never late to the pickup area.
Mitch was always very quick out of the classroom, as I recall, because your mum was my teacher for a year there, and you were in the neighbouring classroom, you were in a different class. And you would bound into the classroom at the end of the day, every day, I think, and sort of like jump on your mum's lap and you're like, hey, mum! You'd come running in while she was trying to kind of close off the lesson. So, yeah.
Very embarrassing.
The other teachers were happy to sort of send him out a bit early. I mean, it's funny because, a lot of kids would have a bit of insecurity about their parents being teachers, but obviously you embraced it and flaunted it.
Until the moment she kicked me out one day because I sung a song too loud in class.
Knock on heaven's door.
The cat came back.
Oh.
The cat.
So the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back, thought he was the goner, but the cat came back because he couldn't stay away. And I was just so into the song. I felt like that was the only thing that was happening at the moment. And Mitchell, get out, and the principal came up. And anyway, so my mum's kicked me out of class.
So your mum went to the principal on you?
I don't know.
Were you just emphasising the came bit too loudly? The cat came back. The cat came back. Good.
Replacing cat with pussy or something. So was she teaching you? Or
yeah, mum's taught me.
She taught you, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
She taught you well, Mitch.
They were doing scripture at the time and you just busted out about the cat. And, yeah.
It was a maths lesson.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't music.
No, it wasn't in music class. That was the problem. She was trying to teach algebra in year 2. I don't know. I can't remember what I learned in primary school. Yeah, so anyway, Mitch, you, I don't know what this story is, but I heard you mention before the show that you had an issue with a beard straightener. Is that correct?
Yeah, because my beard seems to curl up all the time, gets bunched up.
Okay.
So I got on eBay one night and got myself a beard straightener. It's amazing these things, they know what you're looking for. I looked up, actually I was looking through Facebook, they said there's a beard straightener, so I just thought, bloody hell,
because they're listening to you.
Yeah, they keep showing up.
Yeah.
So I bought it. About 10 days later it came, and It was a woman's hair straightener. There was this red-headed model in the front with a beautifully straightened hair. And I've texted the bloke on eBay and I said, what the hell's going on here? She said, well, that's the product that you bought. I said, no, it's not the product I bought. There was a big masculine man with a beautiful straight beard. And she said, no, she said. It's exactly the same product underneath the cardboard while you're concentrating on the outside so much. So, because that's how you've marketed it, you fucking little thing.
Yeah.
So,
and then,
so it's just a hair straightener.
Yeah.
And they're pitching it. You could use it on your beard.
Actually, I'll send Joe the pictures later to put them up now.
They're already up now.
Are they?
They're already up. Yeah, they're up already.
He's put them up already.
Have you?
They're already there.
Yeah.
Well, they're there.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then I was frustrated because that's the way they marketed it. And she said, well, it's exactly the same product. I said, well, fucking hell. Anyway.
So, yeah, right.
So we had a big stoush.
Yeah. There's a big difference between a woman's fine, sort of soft hair
Yeah,
and
I don't want
man's...
to look like her on the front.
No, you don't want a long red
You don't want a
beard hanging
straight
down.
beard. Like, you don't have a wispy, long, straight beard. Like, you want it just to, So
Anyway.
when it starts bunching up, so what would happen? Sort of like all of your beard would come around to the front of your chin? Or?
Oh, no, it was just a general way that my hair goes.
It's curly, you mean? You don't want your beard being curly.
Like your hair goes straight down,
Yeah.
upstairs and down.
Yep.
My hair goes straight up,
You're right.
like an afro sort of thing.
Yeah, yes.
And that's like my beard just sort of bunches,
Go straight up.
So I just thought,
Do you use beard oil on that thing, Mitch?
No.
So you got to get some beard oil, and you can straighten your beard if you put some like heat treatment or something in it, and then blow dry it while you comb it down. It'll straighten it out, and then over time it kind of gets a bit straighter. But it'll be straight when you do it the first time.
Yeah, right.
Here's your answer.
You need to get a male hairdryer, a masculine male hairdryer. You can't use a female hairdryer.
Well, she said this is exactly the same product.
Probably is. I wonder what else they use it for.
They just had a whole warehouse full of these hair straighteners. Like, we're not moving them. Men with beards. Let's sell it to them.
Yeah,
Beautiful. They got me.
Because those things heat to like, they usually got like a little ceramic plate in them. It's like 300 degrees. They're dangerous fucking things.
Yeah, well, this one's too.
Yeah.
You don't want that near your face, really.
Yeah.
Trying to do your mow.
Trying to straighten out his pubes.
You take off your top lip.
Yeah.
So you've got a beautiful woman's hair straightener for sale. If anyone's in the market for a hair straightener,
Is it
Well,
small?
I've used it now. Huh?
Is
that's
it
okay.
small?
It's now worth more.
Oh, no, it's probably about that long.
Your beard's not even that long. You're gonna.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Oh, no, the handle and that. Like the top of it's probably that long. Yeah.
you'd be good with the hair straightener though, because I think the premise is sort of like tongs
Yeah.
in a way. So you want a good grip, good scalloped edging in your hair straightener.
Yeah, they had the hair spatula thing you can use, but he didn't like it. It doesn't have anything.
You prefer a long tong, so I imagine you prefer a long straightener as well.
I don't know. The other fucking thing with this thing is when you hold it, where the grip is, that finger's right over the power button. So you've heated the whole thing up. You've gone to use it.
Turned it off.
You're trying to concentrate and it's turned it off.
Yeah, because that's designed for a female knuckle. Their fingers typically aren't as big.
Yeah.
You need one with a good grip on it, like a.
Yeah, well, have the grip down there, have the buttons up there, and have the straightener up there. So hold it down here and do it like that.
Yeah.
How much did it cost?
Oh, $33, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said I won't be leaving any positive feedback, thank you.
No, 1 star.
Did you leave
Yeah.
any negative feedback though?
Well, I said, how's this fair? She said, why are you concentrating so much on the product? I said, because I'm not a fucking woman.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you concentrating on the packaging? You got to ignore the packaging when you're buying a product.
I think what she was
You don't
saying
have
is,
to look at the packaging.
why are you concentrating it so much on the packaging? And you're like, I'm not a woman. She's like, exactly. Why are you concentrating so much on why are you complaining? You know, you're a man. Get on with it.
Yeah, man up.
Yeah.
Maybe she did, man. Maybe I should man up about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, fucking hell.
Oh, well.
$33, it's all right.
Yeah. It's an odd amount, 33. That include like tax or something or postage.
Yeah, postage and...
Yeah.
Bit of postage, that's why they sting you. Yeah. Oh, Mitchell, hopefully you find products that work for you, mate, and hair straightener gets some use. Will it get any use, or are you just going to throw it on the scrap heap?
No, well, she said, I'll give you a full refund if you want it. But then I played the victim game and said, oh, no, I'll just keep it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so martyrdom. No, I'll keep it.
Yeah, I'll keep it. And then
Guilt tripper.
And then I'm... anyway,
Yeah.
I've got it now. It's got a history. It's got a story. So it's... yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe you'll actually learn to love it, and you'll have a range of hair straighteners. We can get you on the podcast with a range of hair straighteners, and you can give us a bit of a run through.
We could
what
bring
to
it
look for.
here, and we could try it on Nick's hair. That could probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gee,
actually,
your hair's getting long, Nick.
Yeah. It's I don't know when it's going to end. I'm just going to let it keep going until it's around my ankles. We'll see.
Until it gets that homeless mat sort of knotting kind of thing.
One dreadlock.
All right, tell me this as a question, Nick.
Okay.
If you went for a job interview tomorrow and they said, Nick, you need a crew cut, number 2 all over, but the job was worth about $170K a year, would you shave your hair off? Or does the hair mean too much to you?
It means too much.
What's he going, a job at the army or something, is he? You're going to war.
You could be Prime Minister tomorrow. We're going to make you Prime Minister, but you have to cut your hair. You'll be on a beautiful $500K a year. No, I wouldn't, no.
Really?
No, you can't put a price on this hair, Mitch.
Not true,
It's invaluable. No, I'm serious. Yeah. I'd say, what kind of have it up in a bun? Beautiful man bun.
Yeah. I don't like those places that try and change who you are if you got certain tattoos or you know you work with the KKK or something like that. You know,
and make you cover your face. Yeah. You shouldn't have to.
I didn't pay $33 for a beard straightener to cover my face up, regardless of how much I support your movement.
Speaking of the KKK, there's been some major protests happening around.
Oh, shit. During these times, I shouldn't have said that.
What a segue.
We'll take that out.
Yeah, we'll delete that part of the podcast. It'll just be silence.
16 minutes, we got that, Joe, if you take that out.
Yeah, it'll be seamless. It'll just be laughing faces, then straight faces all of a sudden.
Keep the first K and then change it to FC after that. And
the KK, just Kim Kardashian.
KFC.
Zinger box.
But there's obviously a lot of protests happening in America at the moment. They're working towards another civil war, which will be quite exciting, which will make for good television. Anyway, what are your boys' impressions of what's been happening? Mitch, I think you had some, I don't know what they are, and I am a little bit hesitant to ask, but what are your thoughts on the protesters?
And how does it relate to Greta Thunberg?
The protests, yeah, and where does Greta Thunberg fit in? Is she behind this?
Oh, Nick, you're trying to poke a bear here.
Probably a loaded question.
No, but as everyone knows, I'm a big fan of one of the great Australian icons, John Laws.
Okay.
And a guy rang up the other day and in tears and very close to his grandfather. He said, I can't go and see my grandfather's funeral, pay me respects. And you get all these Muppets out here on the protest, you know what I mean? I understand that's a big thing. And, you know, black lives do matter, but all lives matter. Mm-hmm. And I just think this thing happened in America. No one's condoning it. No one thinks it's okay, but there's no need for protests over here. It happened on the other side of the world, and everyone's taking precautions. They've done the right thing. They're trying to make it a safe community. And these idiots, they'll mostly be unemployed, I think. And most of these protesters are just running at any protest. All they hear is protest, and they just go fucking run and do the protest. They don't even know what they're protesting against. They could be protesting against European carp being slaughtered in the fucking river down in Victoria.
Yeah, it should be slaughtered in Europe, if anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. It's upset me because you give these people an inch, they take a mile, and they're victim mentality. And I understand it was a terrible thing that happened to that black man. I was in tears, and I couldn't even bloody watch the thing. Absolutely terrible, you know? But that many policemen have died since then as well that no one's ever spoken about.
Have police died?
Yeah, in America they have.
Yeah,
like just in the general line of duty.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I mean, like, no.
Oh, they do. It's a dangerous job.
Yeah. And who are these protesters, these mongrels, going to call if they go home that night and someone breaks into their house?
Yes.
They're going to say, "Oh, Johnny, stop taking my plasma."
You keep doing it. That's what Johnny. How many times have I told you to stop? I can't keep replacing them.
But who
I'm
are
only
they
donating
call?
blood. I'm not donating plasma.
Who are they going to call when someone goes and bashes up their grandmother? They're going to call the police, and we have to have respect for the police.
I absolutely agree with you there. I mean, we have to have respect for them, but I think it's they're protesting a certain behaviour which seems to be slanted towards black people. So we obviously need police. I don't think anyone's saying get rid of police, but it's more a case of
this isn't the
higher expectation of behaviour.
Yeah, but that's not the norm. What's happening in America in is it Minneapolis?
It was in Minneapolis.
But that's not the norm. That's the thing.
Before we go into that, so I guess essentially what you're saying is, Mitch, is that you feel the protests was spreading COVID, and therefore wasn't the right time to have them. Is that
not spreading COVID? No, they might not have been spreading COVID, but they weren't taking any social distancing practices into place.
Yeah,
where everyone else has, and this bloke that's lost his poor old grandfather.
Oh, he's saying I had to, I couldn't see my grandfather because I had to socially distance, and these people are thumbing their noses at that.
Yeah. It's like Anzac Day. Like what the Anzacs, man, it's unbelievable what they've done for this country,
Yeah.
you know? And I'd love to go out there and bloody be up at dawn, but I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And you get these Muppets. That something happened on the other side of the world that was very bad.
Mm.
And then they, and then we can't march on Anzac Day. We can't go and pay our respects, but these guys can just go out there and act like bloody Muppets, you know?
Well, I think also, Mitch, though, to some extent, there's, a lot of indigenous deaths in custody over here as well. So I think they were sort of extrapolating that link.
Yeah, I think it was just a theme that was sort of current at the time. And I think as well, people are just sort of, because of coronavirus and everyone being restricted, isolating, people losing their jobs, there's a lot of sort of like pent up,
exactly.
frustration and stuff. And
there is. Yeah.
The timing with coronavirus wasn't good, but I think that I can see why people in Australia were protesting the Indigenous rights at the same time, just because it kind of brings up that same kind of feeling of discrimination, I suppose. But yeah, very different things. There's a protest this week about the refugees, I think. So,
is it? I didn't know about
and
that.
you know the thing, Joe? The same people that were at the rally the other week will be at that rally next week.
When I was at uni...
They're just full-time protesters, these fucking people.
When I was at uni, there was a protest at the uni. It wasn't very big. It was like 50 people or something. But there was a guy holding a sign that just said, "Down with this sort of thing." And I was like, that is the most universal sign. He takes it everywhere. Whatever I don't like it.
Down with this sort of thing. Yeah.
Down with this sort of
thing.
thing.
You can take it anywhere.
But there was
like
a
the
chick
Coles.
the other day with a poster that said, "A good cop is a dead cop." At one of these things.
Oh, well, look,
and that is absolutely wrong.
No.
Like, who's she going to call when her grandmother's house gets invaded?
His grandmother's
Obviously, there are some people that take it too far.
Yeah.
I mean, the people are there for different reasons, I think, generally speaking. But yeah, some people will take it too far. I mean, a lot of peaceful protesting as well.
I saw some people calling for defunding of the police. Like, that's a terrible idea.
Oh,
the problem is that people can't seem to hold two ideas in their head at one time. So it's either, well, police are bad or police are good.
Yeah, they don't take a very nuanced view.
It's like sometimes they're bad, most of the time they're good. It depends where you are. Some places have a bit more authority, and also there's like social sort of issues that can impact on the way that the police do their job in certain areas. I'm sure in Australia, in Newcastle, majority of people's experience with the police would be different to somewhere in a predominantly black neighbourhood where there's a lot of issues like poverty and that kind of stuff, and where things go wrong. So.
Yeah, look, it happens ever. I think there was an Indigenous woman died in custody here in the Hunter a couple of years back. There was an inquest. I was talking to a journalist friend recently about it, and he said, it's great all these protesters are protesting this now, but he said, I went to the inquest and we covered it in our newspaper, but he said I was the only media outlet there covering this inquest. This woman died in a prison cell. She didn't get medical attention. I
think as well, though, and that's the problem with how racism is kind of allowed to, I guess, go unchecked for a lot of most of the time, is that with the media, like, that would be the reason that might only been one person there is because it's just not interesting of a story.
Yeah.
Which is, if there was a huge story, they'd go there. If people cared about it, they would go there and report on it.
They don't want to touch the story about maybe Joe as well.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, well, you can touch it, but yes, they probably do. I mean, I can't make a generalization about all media outlets, but yes, there are media outlets that definitely think about what the reader would want, what is sexy.
Well, it's like, if someone bowls the greatest ever lawn bowl of all time, you're not going to get there's not going to be 50 reporters there waiting, because for them, they're just like, well, people don't want to read that.
Yeah.
They don't care about lawn bowls.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of influenced by the people as much as you can.
Well, that might be a positive outcome of the protests then, if it changes the perception of the media that people are interested in these stories now. They might actually get more coverage.
The problem is that generally these things don't last. The people get worked up and then it dissipates pretty quickly.
Well, that's right.
And
I mean,
it's a shame,
really, people that are so passionate to go and rally about it need to actually follow it through. Otherwise, it looks like it's just a fad. It's a bandwagon.
The farmers with the milk. Everyone had to buy the Australian dairy farmers' milk. Like, don't buy the Coles brand because they're underselling, undercutting, and it's affecting the farmers. Everyone's like, I'm just going to buy brand name milk, and that lasted about 4 weeks, and then everyone's like, oh, fuck it, it's $1 a litre. I'm gonna shit to buy.
That's right. People move on.
They can't. Yeah, it's a shame. But what I want to know, see, with all the riots in America, because you had the protests, and then it sort of turned into these riots, and they went for like days on end.
Yeah,
a lot of destruction and just like a pent up frustration and just like energy, and it was chaotic. Mm-hmm. But then they were doing it so many nights in a row that I've always wondered, what do these rioters do during the day when they go home at the end of the protest. They go out and riot, they destroy these things. They go home, they go to sleep, do some groceries, and they pay some bills. And then
so what's the lifestyle of the protest?
Well, what are they doing when they're not rioting? Because the rioting itself looks so extreme and just chaotic and just like it's just anarchy.
Their energy.
But then they go home and go to sleep. Then they have they don't just go like 7 days at a time. They need to rest.
Well, they're probably exhausted.
Yeah, but do they maintain the rage? Because if you're annoyed about something but you sleep on it, the next day you wake up and you're like, I'm sort of a bit over it now. Like they must go to sleep, wake up and be like, okay.
You know what, Joe? I reckon it's like a footy game. They do whatever they do all day. Pre-game, they get into the dressing room, so they get all their mates around. They fire themselves up. He did this. Fire up Lucy, slap her on the face, and all of a sudden, then they go and riot. I reckon it's like a footy game.
Yeah.
They have it's like State of Origin game.
Yeah.
If you wake up in the morning at State of Origin, you don't want to go and smash Shane Webke in the head, do you? But at 8 o'clock at night, you want to go and do it. So it's a process through the day.
A bit like you go into the pub. I'm only going to have 2 beers. No, I'm just going to have 2 beers. I'm just going to take it easy. Just going to go down there, say g'day, maybe get some dinner. I'm going to come straight home. And then you get there and you're like, oh, fuck. Like everyone's drunk and I'm feeling,
energy rises.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you're 12 beers in and you've done some shit.
Yeah. It's, it's interesting to know what their lifestyle would be. But I hope some...
Well, unemployed would be the first lifestyle that...
You think they're unemployed? They're all unemployed?
I shouldn't say that. Take that out. What have we got? 2630, Joe.
2630, yep.
Yeah, we'll delete that. Yeah, look, like I said, I mean, you can't make a sweeping generalisation about... There's always going to be someone that takes it too far.
Sorry, I shouldn't.
And usually it's Mitch.
Yeah, it's usually Mitch. Yeah, if this was a protest, you're looting at the moment. You're running out with a VCR.
He's the first one to start
in 1990.
Hey, I'm scared of walking out the door the time this thing goes there.
Do you reckon that they go home and just trash their own place while there's... Because you're not going to riot by yourself usually. Like if you...
Is there a warm-up?
When you go out and you're sort of surrounded by all these people and all these like emotions and everything, that's when shit starts to go wild. But if you can't just riot by yourself because you just look like a lunatic. But do they go home and just like, just push a few things around and like...
It depends what kind of protester you are. If you're a rioter, then yes, I imagine there's a training regime. You probably want a good, healthy, clean breakfast.
You write a list of what I'm going to do. I'm going to...
Yeah. Look at if you're a peaceful protester, then totally different thing,
Well, protesting and rioting are different things, but it's
the rioting is another level.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, the level of rioting at the moment in America, I think, hopefully does actually bring about some change. Only because I'm thinking about it, it's like... There are clearly some trigger-happy cops that just shoot black people first and ask questions later. If the level of reaction to what's happened with the George Floyd thing, hopefully, cops in these situations now have that somewhere in the back of their mind before when they've got someone at gunpoint and they're thinking, I shouldn't shoot.
It's a bad thing to think I shouldn't shoot because someone might be filming.
Because of social pressure, yes. But there is clearly an issue. I mean, if you look at, I think it was like there's 1,000 fatal police shootings last year, and black people made up about a quarter of those, but they only make up 14% of the American population. So if you look at it that way, per capita, it's a disproportionate amount of black people being shot. But I think... Every police
cop does go around shooting that guy because he's done nothing wrong, Like, he doesn't just go around saying...
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes, there's been people shot accidentally.
Well, the problem
because they thought they had a gun or... Yeah.
In America, the Australian woman was that in Minnesota as well? And she called the police about a disturbance, and then the police turned up, and then she went out to the... It
was in an alleyway and
to the car, and they shot her because they thought that she was. I
remember that
because they're just like they're so hyper because guns in America are so prevalent that you'd be always thinking, if I hesitate here, I could be.
I think she was waving the cop car down, and she approached the vehicle, went to the passenger window.
Yeah,
and the driver fired across his partner. Actually, fired through this, shot her in the stomach.
Yeah,
like on suspicion, like
killed her. Yeah.
But I'm sure it's a mindset of the cops as well that they think that... I mean, this woman was white, but in general with the African Americans, that they probably think that if I do shoot this person and they're black, it's probably not going to be as much of an issue. So,
sure.
Yeah.
I think it's clearly going to be part of it. I don't think there's any simple reason for why these shootings happen.
A lot of people have said because of COVID as well. Mostly the people who have died in America have been African American.
Yes.
Because they don't have in America it's different to Australia. If you don't have the money for the healthcare, if you can't get in, you just die in the street.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad. You know, we're very lucky in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, of course, the whole protest thing is sort of extended now to cancelling stuff again. The cancelling's continued, and Chris Lilly and things like that. Faulty Towers recently.
One of the best skits of all time, that German skit.
Yeah, on Faulty Towers.
Oh.
So you don't think it should have been deleted by the
No, it's a comedy
UK
act.
TV?
It's a comedy act. You
got to be able to laugh at things and, you know.
Yeah. It's, you know, he didn't mean any offence by that. And when he did it in the 70s, he probably did it in the 70s. You think of what it was like in the 70s doing that?
Well, and also, I mean, the racist person in that episode is the butt of the joke, is the one that's being satirised.
Yeah.
You know, he's not held up as being something that we should all aspire to. He's the dickhead in the scene. But, look, I don't think any good comes from cancelling these things. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, censorship is a very, very slippery slope.
I think a lot of the time that people get outraged about things, like they say like they're offended, but I don't think they are. I think some people would be if they have a personal experience with it. But I think a lot of people just like see things that they think, well, that looks offensive, so therefore I'm going to complain about it. And it's the wrong
on other people's behalf.
Yeah, like you're not really offended by it, are you? Like you just kind of like you recognise that is something that people get offended by. Yes. Therefore, I'm going to get on this and say
that's
that
what
it's
I mean.
wrong.
Is the protesters? They just go and protest. That's their mentality, and they just keep going and doing it.
Yeah. They need to rage against something.
Where someone could be really offended sitting at home saying, that's offensive to me, but I'm just going to shut up and watch the 9 News, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You got to choose your battles.
Carried away.
If you... Something like Chris Lilly, like that, you know, he's not... I doubt he's racist. I don't think he is.
Nah,
I think some people take issue with the fact that he's done blackface and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's probably not. He's probably quite progressive. And he makes fun of everyone and anything. That's the idea. He doesn't single them out. He's making fun of everyone, like homosexuals and white people, elderly, Asians, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
everyone. So that's true. Inclusiveness is like to exclude one would be to be racist. But I just think that when you protest things like that, and then you take action comes from it and it gets cancelled, like it trivializes the actual issue that people then associate genuine issues like the police brutality in America with African Americans, with like people not liking someone doing an impersonation of a Polynesian or something. Like it's it's not the same thing.
Well, see this thing that's happened in America, Captain Cook's getting graffitied. So it's like that's how far it's came from.
Yes.
Like it's like you're drawing a long bow.
The Captain Cook thing, he did slaughter a lot of Indigenous people.
I know.
Until they speared him. But
yeah, I know that. I accept that. But all I'm saying is that one cop did the wrong thing in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
and it's affected Captain Cook to be graffitied in Sydney. Like it's a long way.
I think this has all been building, though. I think this, yes, they abolished slavery, but it has continued in different forms. It's clear that is the case, and I think this has all been building and building. I mean, we've seen a lot of video, and like the proliferation of video phones is that there's been heaps. I mean, there's that woman whose husband was shot. He was in the driver's seat, and these cops pulled him over. They thought he had a gun, so they just shot through the window, and he didn't have anything, and he's dying in the front seat, and she's live streaming this on Facebook. So I think we keep seeing these instances of police making a mistake in that decision over and over and over again, deliberately or not.
Yeah, but how many good decisions do they make, Nick? Like this is always it might happen again next year.
I think we can still expect...
It might happen again in 2 years, but it's always the majority of the decisions are good,
Yeah, I don't think that's so much the point, though. Like, yes, people accept that they have a very, very difficult job and it's a dangerous job, but I think we can still expect better and demand better. I mean, these are people dying, often unarmed and for no reason. Like, they have that power, and
there's always going to be a dickhead in every trade or place. Like I'm sure a couple of Aussie guys with the Australian Army would have killed a couple of Afghanistanis.
Yeah, of course,
for no reason.
Well, because it's a job where you have power and rights that other people don't have, and particularly in Australia, the ability to carry a gun when they're otherwise outlawed. It's always going to attract a certain type of person that wants to have that power.
But if you're like if you're an Australian soldier in Afghanistan, or you're like a police officer in America, where there's like the threat of someone returning fire on you or shooting you first is much higher. Like that's got to play on your mind a bit and make you a bit more trigger happy and a bit more like, Because in Australia, like the odds of someone pulling a gun on a police officer anywhere, like in Newcastle down at Hunter Street, if someone pulled out a gun and shot a cop, it would be like, what the fuck? Where did he get a gun from?
Yeah. Well, I think and I feel like the police here do use it really as a last resort. Like I saw a video the other day. This guy who's obviously had mental health issues was running around with a knife, and they've got him surrounded, and they're screaming at him. You know, no one shot him. They've all got their guns drawn, and this cop car like ran him over. They tried to knock him over with their car before shooting him because they are trained to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was like he's kept bouncing back up. He's on one of those sort of punching bags that just springs back up again. He kept getting to his feet, but they could have easily shot. They would probably well within their rights to shoot. You know, he's got this big knife, but they didn't.
But if he had a gun, they would have shot him for sure.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. But
you got to think a lot of these coppers, they might be a thug to begin with, and they just get in the police force because they want to do that.
Yeah, that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying.
Over in Minneapolis is probably he was a dickhead before he actually joined the police force, and they let him in.
He looked like a dickhead.
You know. Yeah,
it wouldn't have been the first.
Joe? I agree with that. He looked like a dickhead. Yeah.
Well, he had to be. I mean, he has to be a psychopath, really. I
just
don't
looked-
think anyone
yeah.
could watch that video and not think that guy is unbalanced.
He was so smug when he was doing it. He was like, "Look at me," like you know.
Yeah, he was sort of doing it in spite of the fact they're recording. He was
Yeah.
like, I know, but I'm just like, I don't.
The
care.
guy
Maybe
was-
if they didn't record, he wouldn't have done it. You know.
Well, so, yeah, that
Well-
maybe it's their fault.
No, I'm not putting the blame on those guys, but
there's no way that he wouldn't have been roughing up African Americans for a long time.
I agree.
And,
I agree. Yeah.
But there's just no there's no way you can
No,
justify
it was
what he
sick.
did at all.
It was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I think this has all been building, and you know, even here in Australia, you know, the Australia Day thing. I mean, like issues for Indigenous people and Black people are definitely are in the sort of social discourse quite a bit, and it's been building and building. I think that video of him just being murdered for no reason.
Oh, it was wrong.
Like
Yeah.
it's pretty confronting.
It's hard to
and
watch, isn't it?
I think the reaction to it has been clearly very strong. So it'd be interesting to see if any change is made now. I think because this really feels like
But how can you make a change? Like, what change can you make? Like what change can Donald Trump come in and say this is what you've got to do?
One of the things
now?
they don't do is literally charge police officers. The statistics of police officers who have falsely shot someone, like an unarmed person, for example. So they've shot someone dead who never had a weapon, was never a threat. Never get charged.
Yeah.
And even when there's inquests that demonstrate the cop is at fault and just used very, very poor judgment and they've killed someone, they often come back to work and stuff. You know, like it's
which hasn't happened this time, has it?
no,
Like
he's been
this guy-
charged, I think, with second degree murder, which is still pretty, But
what's that? How many years is that be like?
I'm not sure what the maximum sentence is, but it could be 20. I don't know.
or something, I think.
Yeah,
Google that, can you, Nick?
Oh, I could. Yeah. But yeah, look, it's a very interesting time at the moment. I mean, the thing with blackface is like, it's clear that someone like Chris Lilly does it from a kind of a loving place. Like he's not taking the piss out of the characters or the ethnicities that he impersonates. But unfortunately, blackface in particular has a pretty has a tainted history, and that's the thing. It was it as an art form, as pantomime or whatever, has been ruined.
Minstrel, was that the
minstrel shows. Yeah, Al Jolson was famous for it.
Yeah, they deliberately made fun of, like, the whole point of it was to kind of
absolutely, yeah. And look, I hope a day comes, and it hopefully will come at some point when we're at a place where we can do blackface.
Yeah, that's what we want at the end of the day. Is to do blackface.
That's what we're working
I
towards.
dressed as Michael Jackson once at Thriller, and I had to do green face because I couldn't do blackface. I had to do like a zombie face because I couldn't do blackface.
Yeah, so you could do him as a zombie.
Yeah, it ruined my night. But like, I want to get to a point where that's okay.
Yeah, and look, I think in generations maybe we will, but I think while George Floyd is still being murdered, it's a bit of a sore point. But
not every incidence of blackface is racist, but if there's still racism happening that's quite blatant, then it's hard to kind of
I think it obviously does upset black people. And I don't think blackface is clever enough to kind of go into bat for it to, you know what I mean? Like,
do you remember Hey Hey It's Saturday that happened one time?
Yes.
And who was the judge that...
Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah, I remember that. And that, look how long ago that was.
Yeah, true.
It's
So what would that be, 20 years, 15 years?
Oh, longer.
Because it was for red faces. and then they did blackfaces instead.
Blackfaces.
Yeah,
And
then Harry Connick Jr. said just a 0.
Yeah.
with his,
It was a repeat of it was like a best of red faces. So they actually got them back to do it again.
You're going to love these guys, Harry. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
And
he was offended.
Yeah,
he was a white fella.
Yeah,
He's
but
from
live on air, he went because he spent a lot of time down like New Orleans and stuff. He would be very sensitive to black issues.
Sort of guy.
Yeah, and so he on live television like basically shot down the show and said what I've just seen is horrendous.
And
like
Daryl just is like,
Daryl's like, oh my god, and like it should have. I mean, yes, it's amazing that actually happened. When you think about it, that's insane.
Bong. Hit the...
Red's just like taking his time though. He's sort of half enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, let him go a bit longer.
I still remember that. Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty. But yeah, like
That was a big moment in Australia.
It's fascinating. We are still talking about blackface, and even it was pretty audacious that Chris Lilly did it to begin with. Like,
Yeah, I
when
think
you think about it.
What was that on Summer Heights High? Or
Yeah.
no?
He did the other one too, as like a rapper, which is Smouse. I think that wasn't as good, but also like
Wasn't as good a character.
There's no point to it. Whereas I think
No.
with Jonah, as much as it's kind of like he's blackfacing, he's doing a Polynesian
Oh,
impersonation.
is that what the problem is,
But-
Jonah?
But Jonah's
one
like
of them, yeah.
Oh, gee, I
Jonah's
don't
actually
see
a very
problem with that.
endearing character.
Absolutely,
and
yeah,
you really
yeah.
feel for him in the end, and it kind of tells a pretty good story.
And he had a
and it's-
Polynesian cast around him.
Yeah,
that
he's not-
they clearly weren't offended either.
But he's
They understood.
acting. That's the thing. He's acting somebody.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be like. He's He's been an actor. Like he is that person. He is a Polynesian person. You know.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, I mean
Like,
that's the
what
argument.
an actor does.
That's the argument for it, but it is hard to argue for it while it upsets people. But
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not. Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah.
Depends who's upset. If a Polynesian person says offended by that and is upset by it, I'd say absolutely that's fair enough. If a white person told me, I'd go fuck yourself. You are not.
Yeah.
well, it's interesting because they tried to cancel Jimmy Fallon recently because 20 years ago he did an SNL sketch where he dressed up as Chris Rock.
20 years, Nick. 20 years.
And Jamie Foxx came out and said, leave him alone, like it was a comedy sketch.
Yeah.
He actually defended it quite, like he came into bat for him. So I found that interesting. It's like...
There's nuance between...
Yeah, there's more to it. He said like it was from a good place. It was a comedy show. All the black people thought it was funny.
I remember there was a kid that dressed up as his favourite AFL player to a Halloween thing, and he, I'm not sure, I don't really follow AFL, but it was a black guy, and he dressed up in the
little kid,
jersey and stuff.
Yeah,
and
wanting to look
got a lot
like
of
him.
outrage, and the guy's like, oh, look, like I get it, it's nice and everything, but just maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
So people were like, there's no ill will meant by it. The kid just really likes him, just wanted to look like him.
Yeah.
Which is... You can kind of go, well, yeah, pretty irresponsible of the mother to allow it to happen, but intent wasn't that bad. Whereas then there was a guy who dressed up in like Aboriginal like body paint and like garb and stuff, and then was on the highway yelling at people to get off his land and stuff. And you're like, there's no point to that. There's no like, you're not making a statement or kind of like just trying to be like, you're just being an absolute fuckwit.
Yeah.
So one you can justify in a way, one you absolutely cannot.
But that's the thing. Like these things get ruined by people like that. So this is why we can't have nice things. Like it gets people will always abuse it or sort of mutate it in some way. But taking Gone with the Wind down off, I think it's Netflix, and taking Chris Lilly down. To me, censorship doesn't really forward the progression of this at all. Like if anything, it's to the detriment, because while a movie like Gone with the Wind is out there and has these sort of racial elements to it, the only way you ultimately combat racism is through like conversation. And
I think it has the opposite effect, because I think people that are racist that see these things happening, they're not going to go, oh, I won't be racist anymore because apparently it's not good. It just sort of galvanizes their belief, like, oh, fuck these people. And I like that show.
No one responds well to being censored.
I've got it on DVD, but how dare they take it off fucking Netflix?
Yeah. But like, while that movie is out there, it can be viewed differently in 2020 to when it was first put out, and that discussion ultimately, hopefully, like illuminates people. The only way you'll ever change someone's mind, and racist people do change their mind from time to time. There's lots of people that were KKK members who have
They've got to want to change, though.
They've got to want to. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very difficult. But the only way you'll ever do it is through healthy discussion and logic and all these things, which you can't do when you're taking Gone with the Wind off the table and saying, no one watched that. It's not really, I don't think it adds anything to the discussion.
I've never seen it. What was the issue with that?
I actually haven't seen Gone with the Wind either.
I've seen
I'm a huge movie buff, and is it black character that's...
Well, I think it was around maybe the time of the Civil War or something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of telling a story of the time. I don't know I can't remember. I haven't seen it for a long time, and it goes for 3 hours, so fuck knows how much would I actually pay
What year was
attention
that?
to.
Like
But
50s or something?
was it 30s
39,
or
I
something,
think.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, gee.
It's really old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, taking down an episode of Fawlty Towers is not ultimately going to help anything. And we have moved forward. Because I'm pretty sure in that episode of Fawlty Towers, the N word is dropped 3 times. But when we watch that now in 2020, it's very jarring hearing that. Like, we are already watching it through in a different context. Like, I would watch that now.
Nazi is the word you mean, isn't it?
What's that?
Nazi is the word.
Nazi, yes.
Isn't it, but in that one?
No, I'm pretty sure he says the N word.
He is.
I thought that's what you meant before, because there was a German.
But he talks about. I haven't seen the episode in a long time.
I'm pretty sure it's Nazi these days.
He's a Nazi, but I think it's.
He's talking about going to cricket or something, isn't he? In the episode, there's a game against India.
He's doing a Hitler impersonation.
No,
he keeps saying
I don't know if it's that word.
don't
I think
mention
it's
the
a
war.
Nazi word, Nick.
I'm pretty sure. Hang on, let's see if we can find it.
But the fact that you're saying Nazi means we don't have to say N word for Nazi. Not yet.
Well, that's what I thought. I said that's what Nick said before. I said, can't we say Nazi anymore?
No, I'm pretty sure there's dialogue where they actually say.
There's not, but Nick. I'll tell you. Let's put $20
It is
on
believed the offending scene in one in which the Major, Ballard Berkeley, uses the N-word 3 times while regaling hotel manager Basil Fawlty with a story about taking a woman to see a test match featuring India. That's, yeah.
I think it's Nazi.
No, well, you think the N-word is Nazi and not the N-word?
Yeah. Yeah, I promise you, because I was saying it.
But you can say Nazi.
That's what I thought. Until today.
We'll find out when this podcast goes viral. If it's bleeped, then we know we can't say it.
I want to watch the episode now. All right.
You said $20, didn't you?
I've got $3.
It says here that a racial slur is used, Mitch. Let's just find this thing.
Nazi's a word, but I think.
I don't know. I don't know whether there'd be Nazis at an Indian test match, but
I don't know if you'd be censoring it though in the.
No, you wouldn't be censoring the word Nazi, Mitch.
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Otherwise, you'd be cancelling Indiana Jones and everything.
So are you saying the N-word got used in an episode of Fawlty Towers?
Yes.
Well, I honestly don't think it would have been. And if it
Elvis-
was, take it off.
Elvis Costello.
I'd take it off if it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Does Elvis Costello still use the N-word when he sings Oliver's Army?
I don't think he does. No. In the same way, I don't think I don't really perform anymore. But the F word is is used in Knopfler. Dire Straits sings it in that song too.
Money for Nothing.
Money for Nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, tell me. I remember Die Hard, right?
Yes.
Die Hard movie. It's one of the movies I've ever seen.
Great film. It's one of the movies you've ever seen.
No, it's one of the only movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
And the guy out on the street in the middle of the Bruce Willis said, "I hate the N-word."
Yeah.
So does that movie get taken off?
No, because I think
Why is that?
Well, using the logic of taking down Fawlty Towers, yes. Yes, it does.
I think it's I mean,
I can't remember that scene. Does he?
He has to wear a
He's
sign.
on the middle of the road in a big.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
He makes him wear. He makes him wear a sign.
Makes him wear the sign.
Jackson
yes.
is there.
Yes,
He validates the whole thing.
So is that okay?
Well, look. I mean, in the context of that scene, surely it is, because that's the whole point of it. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson comes over and says, "Mate."
Yeah, he makes him do it. The bomb guy.
Yeah.
Makes him do it because it's such a fucked up thing to do. So he's not.
Well, he's trying to get him killed.
As a character, he's not doing it to go. I just don't like that. I'm going to make my. I'm going to protest. You know, like
that would be a very different movie if it just opened with John McClane.
Yeah, that wasn't even in the script. He just did that, and we're like, Bruce, what are you doing?
Bruce, that's not your outfit. No, I just feel like he's a tough guy, John McClane. I just think it's something you do in Harlem.
Really feel like I'm in sync with his character. This is what he'd do for sure. Yeah.
And he just gets shot dead, and the movie ends. It's only goes for about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
very different film. But no, that's right. So it's Die Hard with a Vengeance is the one you're thinking of. He's got to wear the sign. Yeah. I mean, I watched that again recently, and I was sort of like, when you see that word, even though it's totally in the context of the movie or whatever, and it is a film. Yeah, it is jarring. Like I think any sane person who understands the power of that word is shocked by it. I remember thinking, wow, you couldn't do that in a movie today. You just couldn't do that.
I like the word cracker.
But if you couldn't do that in a movie today,
like with cheese and tomato, or
but you're saying that you couldn't do that in a movie today. But there were movies that got brought out in 1939 that have been taken off.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of...
Well, you just couldn't...
You can take away anything today that's ever been offensive.
And nor should you. I think it was a Little House on the Prairie. They were talking about actually editing that word out.
Yeah, Punky Brewster too. I think they had a few times they mentioned
just think
that.
it's
He drops the N-bomb all the time. Yeah.
So it made it so punky.
But yeah, look, I'm against censorship. I'm a very freedom of speech absolutist, though. I mean, not everyone would agree with me on that, but I do believe very much in freedom of speech.
Well, these guys are artists, you know. Their expressions
Depends on context.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, inciting violence or something like that, no. But, you know, I would defend someone's right to be a racist asshole and say stuff, because I think that, again, like, it all comes down to conversation. Like, then if someone is being racist and saying, you know, all race, there's no logic to racism, so it's a very easy thing to argue down, and I think that's how it should be combated, not through silencing someone, but by combating it with the logic necessary. Otherwise, and if logic doesn't ultimately win in the end, then there's no point to any of this, really. There's no point to continuing as a species.
But most people aren't logical.
Well,
when it comes to social media, which makes things a lot worse.
I think the majority of people are. Otherwise, we would be in a state of complete chaos. You don't think so?
No, I don't think they are. I think for the most part, the minority of people sort of control the dialogue and the way that things progress, and everyone else just sort of goes with it.
Yeah.
And they just go with the flow.
I'll go with that, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they could just as much go with the flow if you paint racism in the light in which it should be painted. You know what I mean?
I think what we're seeing with social media now is that, and with Donald Trump, is that like people, you know, like these people that have these really weird, fucked up sort of beliefs, and when you got someone that sort of plays on it, you can get people rolled up and they'll do anything.
Yeah, you can.
So I think that kind of the post-truth kind of stuff, and like anti-vaxxers,
the issue is,
they just kind of, doesn't matter if it's true or not, they just believe it, and then once they've sort of decided, they kind of just go, oh, this is what I fucking believe, and nothing you can say is going to change my mind.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the problem with silencing people in general, though, is that at what point someone has to be making the decision making. Like, there's no infallible human being that should be in charge of silencing.
Leave
people.
it up to someone.
It's a slippery slope. But the anti-vaxxing thing, you know, like, I would have to, as stupid as I think anti-vaxxers are, I would have to defend their right to spout nonsense in the same way that I have to, you know.
That's a whole other issue, isn't it? You're going to get me wound up again here, Nick.
You must be against anti-vaxxers, surely.
I believe, you know what happened in rugby league recently?
Yep.
And they said, this guy needs a vaccine. And the guy said, I don't want to have a vaccine. I said, no problem, sir. But you're employed by us, so but if you're employed by us, this is what's required to do your job.
Yep.
If you don't want the vaccine, please go and get a job down the road. But with us, we require that from you.
Yep.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Well,
Do we agree?
No, I agree with that. Yeah. That's so you're sort of the anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The problem with
I was worried about your pause then because I was like, oh, don't tell me Mitch. Anti-vax diatribe. No, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, it was stupid for them to. I mean, yeah, those are the rules.
Those are the rules. If you don't want to do it, go and
get on side. Get on side, Bryce, or fuck off.
Yeah.
Send off.
Tell me this, but you fellas, and I want to know your answer now. Will Donald Trump be reinstated for another 4 years?
Ooh.
Milligan.
I really.
If you're a bet man. What are the odds?
I tend to think that. I mean, maybe it's my lack of faith in America, but he's every chance of being re-elected. Only because I think Biden is such a weak opponent.
Is he?
Yeah. But
that facelift looks great on him, though.
Well,
he looks like 10 years younger.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. But I at the moment the polls are suggesting Trump's not going to win.
Yeah.
But they said that last time.
Oh, big time last time too, didn't they?
Old sleepy Joe Biden, like he doesn't really, you know, as much as Donald Trump is a lunatic, like he does fire up his base, and he's doing that at the moment. He's making everyone sort of creating this division and really kind of like
but
fanning the flames.
Is, you mean? Trump is. That's the thing. Biden's getting. I haven't seen Biden on TV yet. At all. Like I'm not glued to the.
See him. He's too white.
I saw Sleepy Joe this morning.
Yeah.
Before he had his coffee. Yeah.
That's a good call.
Thanks, Mitch. But Like he's getting no oxygen at all, Biden. Like I haven't seen him on TV. Like that's the thing. I wouldn't even know what his stance. I mean, I can guess what his stance is, but on all this writing, but I haven't seen him. Like because the cameras are just glued to Trump. Like,
he's getting no oxygen because of the mask he's wearing all the time. I saw that this morning. He's got these big.
His ventilator's on the fritz. Yeah,
it's like it's like in Australia with like Scott Morrison and the coronavirus thing happened, and then I think Anthony Albanese was doing pretty well during the bushfires. He's out there with the people. He was sort of handling it really well, but then coronavirus happened. Scott Morrison's back out there, and he's handled it better.
Giving these long press conferences,
and you get those press conferences, which are like you're delivering statements and you're addressing people on how things are going. So therefore, you've got all this exposure. Albanese, you haven't even seen him.
No, that's it.
You know what Albanese's trying to do? He's trying to wait for Morrison to fall on his own sword, and he's not. He's doing a great job.
People, I don't think he is, but people would perceive that. Yeah. I think the average Joe is seeing him on TV going, "Oh well, there's no COVID now. We did the right thing," and
it is, I think,
and that's what it is.
But that Albanese,
any big outbreak or any big disaster, the leader always do better.
Yeah, and they say wartime presidents as well usually get back in.
Exactly right, Nick.
Yeah. That's why Donald Trump's like, I'm a. What does he say? What's the word
he's calling himself a wartime president.
Yeah, it's like law and order or something.
Yeah,
the president for law and order.
You never see his missus much, do you?
No, I don't think she wants to be seen with him at all.
There's a lot of rumours that she's like have body doubles and stuff because she doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, we all know why she married him for his money and his looks. Yes. So, well,
we solved it. We solved a
few of the world's problems there.
Issue.
I think. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Cease protesting, guys. Everything's back on track.
Yeah. Go back your life. Back to your lives.
We got a bit carried away there, fellas. We didn't offend anybody.
No, well, maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe we'll get some feedback. You've obviously got some strong...
I do. I get a bit wound up about the protests and that, especially because of this guy that was in tears on the phone the other day because he couldn't go to his grandfather's funeral. But
yeah, and you're a sensitive man. I can appreciate where you're coming
I just
from.
feel for people, you know?
Yeah.
Hopefully people are still watching at 57 minutes here.
Well, that's it. Maybe people just tuned out after 10 minutes and didn't get to the
offensive stuff.
Let's say something really offensive now, and then if no one complains about it, we'll know that no one's watching till the end.
Say something really fucking bad.
I think that's got to be up to you, Mitch.
I still want to be Prime Minister one day. No, I don't. No, I'm not going. I'm too scared, Mitch. I'm too scared to say anything offensive.
Take that C word out because we probably do have a few viewers here.
Your mum will be watching this, won't she?
I don't know what she's doing. But she's been a very good mother. Yeah. So's my father.
Yeah.
Except he was out there spreading the COVID around, wasn't he? He was out there just having a gale time. He's like these protesters.
You would have sworn Morrison said, please go out, be as socially active as you possibly could.
I was at Bunnings.
And you know what? I told you about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
You go, Joe.
I was at Bunnings. There's like the aisles have like 4 people per aisle or something. And they were just full of old people who were not following the signs at all. Like,
should be called lemmings.
Yeah, I think so, if I understand lemmings. Yeah, they didn't care. And this Bunnings woman that was working there stacking the shelves like, they just don't care. I was like, no, they don't.
Oh.
They don't.
You know, someone
the older
said,
you get.
Well, that's the thing. They were like, we're already going to shuffle off pretty soon anyway, you know. So they're just like breathing in asbestos products and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone said to me, and it sounded like a really good idea, if you go around the supermarket, have it all one way. Right. So then you're not crossing the other person. And then it was so simple, but it sounded okay.
So if you got the aisle...
How do you get back, though?
There's someone... You want something on this shelf, then you want something on that shelf, but you got to...
No, but you do the whole tour. You do the whole tour.
You're allowed to overtake someone if they're slow?
Oh, no, you can't overtake, Joe.
Oh,
you
yeah.
You're in there for the whole day.
Yeah.
What if you miss, like, I went past the rice? How do you get back into that? You got to weave all the way through.
2.5 hours time you've been going back past the rice.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the bank or something and they've got like the big court and you've got to walk at the movie theatre and you're the only one there and you've still got to go through the little maze. It's like that. Like if you went past something, you've got to go back and follow it through until you come back around because you're only going one way. Yeah, that'd be fun. Like I can see that working, Mitch.
But for social distancing, no problem.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Give everyone like really big pairs of floaties they've got to have on their arms. So
this is the problem with society, though, that we get to this point where we're talking about single, like, directional aisles rather than people just keeping their fucking distance.
Yes.
Well, people aren't going to do that, so we need to put in some rules here to make sure that everyone just goes in the proper way.
Yeah. I think society moves as quickly as its slowest person.
But if you're going one way down, right, you miss the rice too. You yell back to the granny, hey, throw us over the rice. She flips it over and away you go.
Like when you run out of bog roll in the cubicle or throw us over some TP.
She acquiesced that roll before she throws it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should put this one to air, boys. I think we've did too much controversy.
Too inflaming, you think?
Yeah.
Too provocative.
It's okay for now, but in 10 years' time, it might be looked at differently.
Yeah, this will get taken down off the internet in about 2 months. Particularly,
Hey,
let's cut before you do that blackface.
All right, hang on.
Yep.
Do you know, I've heard a bloke that can drink 5 litres of petrol and not get sick. You know what his name is?
Oh, okay. No, tell me. I can't.
His name's Jerry Can. And
on that note, I think we should wrap it up.
yeah.
All right. Oh, jeez. All right.
It's offensive.
Thank you for tuning in to Dictating Terms. Oh, thank you for tuning in to this wonderful episode of Dictating Terms. Episode 11 of this
Episode 11.
season in the new
It's a little
studio.
bit different this episode today.
It was a bit more serious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A bit topical.
But it felt good. You know? Yeah, I think everyone, probably swearing at us over the
whiskey.
screen.
You got your protest over the protestors out of your system, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, feeling better?
Yep.
It's like letting out a big fart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Let's wrap this up. Thank you for tuning in to Dictating Terms. Hopefully you might be watching us on Facebook or YouTube. Don't forget you can also hear us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and that sort of thing. Tell your friends. And thank you. I've been Nick. Thank you for being here, Joe.
I've been Joe. Thank you for having me.
And I've been Mitch. Thanks for being here, Mitch.
Good night.
See you next time.